Hi, everyone. Thank you for braving this horrible weather to come to the museum. My name is Jenn Laqualia. I'm the collections manager and registrar here at the Art Museum. And today, first of all, welcome to our last spotlight tour of the semester. We hope to do this next semester. It's been really fun to be able to do this. So today I'm going to talk about two paintings by Frank Duveneck that we have in our collection. So Frank Duveneck was a German-American artist around 1848 to 1919. And we're going to talk about two paintings today. So we have the Study for Reading of Tasso, which was a bequest of Frank Jordan Jr. and was acquired in 2022. And also Italian Girl, which was a gift of Richard and Carole Cocks in 2022. Both were painted in the late 1800s, 1885 and 1884, respectively. And part of the Art Museum's collecting mission is to acquire more works from Ohio artists, specifically the southwestern Ohio region. And Frank Duveneck fits that bill as he was born in nearby Covington, Kentucky in 1848 to German immigrant parents. He was very active in the Cincinnati region, even though he traveled all over the world. So he originally actually studied church decoration before painting, which I found interesting. But he found his passion in drawing and painting later on in life. And he started his formal studies when he traveled to Germany. He went to the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Munich and studied under Alexander Strahuber and Wilhelm von Dies. He was heavily influenced by Dutch and Flemish masters such as Frans Hals and Rembrandt. While in Germany, a lot of his work favored a darker palette, which you can see the stark difference between the Italian Girl painting and the Study of Reading of Tasso. The Study of Reading of Tasso is much darker. So this was a popular style in Germany at the time. He also spent a short amount of time in Italy. We think about 2 years, maybe less. And this is most likely where he painted Italian Girl. We don't know for sure, but he returned to America in 1873 and settled in Cincinnati. He taught for several years before going back to Munich, where he established his own school, and his students were known as the Duveneck Boys. So first I want to talk about the Study for Reading of Tasso. You might not be able to see from back there, but I invite you to look closely after this. But there are actual grid lines in the painting. So we know that this was a preparatory painting for a much larger mural that was a competition in Italy in 1884, honoring the 16th century Italian epic poet Jerusalem Liberata. If you also look closer, you can see a lot of the faces are not finished. This figure right here, these two seem to be the clearest and actually have some clear facial features, but a lot of them are very blurred. It looks like maybe some of the painting wasn't finished, especially down in this corner and up here. And this was pretty common for Duveneck. He would make these preparatory paintings before the finished product. So if you've ever been on the Cincinnati Art Museum's website, you can look up Duveneck's paintings. They have the largest collection of his paintings and drawings. And what's really interesting is when I was looking at that, there is a finished version of this at the Cincinnati Art Museum and at the Smithsonian American Art Museum. But at the Cincinnati Art Museum, it's a lot more detailed. All of the faces are finished. It's a lot clearer, but it also has a different title called Reading to Chioggia Fishermen, which was completed in 1894. So almost 10 years exactly from this preparatory painting to the finished product. And it had a heavily Italian Renaissance influence, but was also influenced, like I said, by darker palettes, which was the style at the time in Germany. And it features a seaside scene with a monk reading aloud to a group. And based on the title, of the Cincinnati Art Museum. Guessing these are fishermen, not entirely sure. You can also, when you look closely as the collections manager, these are things that I see. There's some cracking in the paint as well. I believe it's had some conservation work done in the past and will probably need more conservation work in the future. Moving on to the Italian girl. Like I said, he spent a couple years in Italy and most likely painted Italian girl there. There is speculation that it might have been in Spain, but most likely Italy. You can see when you look closely the stark differences between these two paintings, even though they're only a year apart. With Italian girl, you can almost see the texture of the brush strokes. It's a lot thicker. The lighting is a lot lighter. You can kind of see that the light is shining on her face as she's looking to the right. But similar to this painting, it seems unfinished. So down here you can see, this part is unfinished up here. There's a few other spots on the right side. And then something else that I noticed and that you can probably see is that there's some, it's called cockling, where it kind of looks warped on the right side. And so that will need, in the future, will also need conservation work. It will need to be restretched, which is pretty common with these paintings. We don't know who this Italian woman is, which is pretty common in his paintings and drawings. He draws a lot of landscape scenes and a lot of portraits of unknown individuals. So we don't, like many other paintings like the Mona Lisa, we don't know who she is. He did paint this shortly before the tragic loss of his wife, Elizabeth Boot Duveneck. They were only married a few years, and she was also an artist. After her death, he returned to Cincinnati and was a teacher at the Art Academy of Cincinnati until his death in 1919. And he donated, like I said, many of his works to the Cincinnati Art Museum. His generosity is well documented. His daughter-in-law stated he would often give paintings away to his admirers. And his wife, Elizabeth, stated he had a marvelous power of wielding paint. Frank Duveneck's life and work embody a bridge between European art traditions and the burgeoning American art scene in the late 19th century. His contributions to both painting and education continue to inspire. If you would like to know more about Frank Duveneck, I would really encourage you to visit the Cincinnati Art Museum and get on their website to see the vast collection of Duveneck's works, as well as the Smithsonian American Art Museum. And if you have questions and would like to look at these up close, please let me know. Thank you.